Hey guys, welcome in. It is another edition of the Joe Raineri Show live, brought to you by Halftimemagic.com. And speaking of Halftimemagic.com, the man, the myth, the legend, the CEO, he joins us here via the Miami Acura webcam on this Monday night. Scott, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. Just waiting for some of these games to go to half.
I'm telling you, we're excited. So for those of you that are just joining us here for the first time, Scott had asked to maybe be able to do something along the lines where we come on with you guys live tonight and kind of give you a firsthand experience and a kind of peek behind halftimemagic.com and what they do. And what they do is they only concentrate on second half bets. And those of you that have seen the show, the Joe Raineri Show earlier, we talked to Scott about second halftime bets and how we're always looking to find an edge. And the edge is in the second half lines, where a lot of the time the line doesn't adjust to reflect what is actually happening in the game, but rather it reflects a cookie cutter method that the books use in order to try and match what the pregame line is. And I don't know how else to put it, Scott, but other than there comes a lot of times in games, especially in college hoops in the NBA, where the second half line doesn't match with what we just witnessed in the first half of games.
Right. I mean, that's the crux of what we do. I mean, we look for that edge, and the edge is substantial, right? So it's not only edge in the statistics that go on in the first half, it's also the edge in the second half line that's put up by these, the main sports books that put these lines up. They're not analyzing any stats. They're basing their second half line on a cookie cutter method that's based on a full game line. So just a rough example would be if a team's minus 10 for a game, they go to half and say they're up 4, they would be minus 4, minus 5, minus 6 the second half, right, to get that more as a 10-point game line. So that's where the edge is. The edge is in the statistics and then taking advantage of what they call soft lines.
Yeah, and what we've got here tonight is we've got a few games that are underway, I believe, already in college hoops, just a few minutes away, probably about 10 minutes away from NBA games tipping off. And as we look around the landscape here, as we throw up, I think we've got just about 14 seconds, almost getting ready to go to half, Nebraska and Indiana. That is 29-22, Nebraska and Indiana, Scott. I think we've got 3 or 4 other games that are just tipped off. So we're getting ready for the 7:30 tip-offs. But in that Nebraska-Indiana game, give us an idea of what we're looking at right now.
Right. So started out pretty slow. It was a blowout. Indiana kind of clawed back into it. They're down 9 at home. So again, we're waiting for the game to go to half. It just did. So then we basically analyze the first half to see what it looks like. So I'll give you kind of an idea. What one of our stations look like. We have a few of these, and when it gets busier, we
you got separate locations with us too as well.
Right, exactly. So you can see, I have all these games. I think I unplugged it a little bit. Do you got a weird color on your end?
No, you're good.
Okay, cool. So you can see, we've got multiple games up, and that's all we do. We analyze these games at halftime, and then we, if there's an edge on both the statistics and the line, right? The line has to be in our favor. It does us no good if, for instance, say Indiana looked like a great play here statistic wise, and then we look at the line and it's Indiana -7. Well, that doesn't do anybody any good. I mean, that's just reflective of what we saw. So we're looking for a line that is soft and kind of misplaced, and then also stats. So, just looking at this game, Indiana started out slow. Let me check the second half too.
Pull the numbers up here. Let me explain to folks what's going on as well. If you're joining us here, the whole when you do second half wagering, it is all about being able to place the bet as soon as the alert comes over with halftimemagic.com. So what that means is when the alert comes over, you've got to have your book and you've got to be able to get yourself placing the bet here rather quickly. So if I was you, I would go ahead and open up in a web browser that you've got going on, get your book open, and get ready to be able to place the bets as they come across second half bets here. And I'm looking at our friends at uwager.eu right now. Second half, I've got Indiana laying 3.5 right now. The over-under 75 in this game, Scott.
Right. So I'm not seeing much of an edge in the stats for the side, but the total is close to an underplay. It's real close. It's not an official play. If I were to lean, I'd lean under here. 75 is a decent number, but it just missed our official play.
Okay, so 75, you're leaning under, but it's not something that you would send out in an alert and letting people know exactly that that would be a go. But that's how the process works. Is these games go to half, they get analyzed with the real-time statistics, and then once it comes out on whether or not there's a lean one way or another, whether it be in the full game, whether it be in the spread or it be in the over/under for the second half, the alert would come over, and you guys would you'd have between 5 and 10 minutes by the time you receive the alert till the time the tip-off happens in the second half. So that's why it's important for you guys when betting second half lines and when utilizing a halftimemagic.com, you got to be able to place those bets when the alerts come over, Scott. And that's really the trick to the second half, is to be able to get the alert, log on, place the bet, and then go back to whatever the hell it was you were doing prior to that.
Right, and there's a couple of different things here, right? So we are very specific in what we look for, and if it doesn't fit our parameters exactly, it's not a play, right? So it's like this game was close, but we're just not putting out plays for people to get action, right? To get their fix, quote unquote fix. We put out plays that are solid plays, and that's why we trend 58% or better over the long term, because we put out the cream of the crop, right? So we're not putting any borderline games out like this game would be. Again, if you take the under here, you have the stats in your favor, and would not be surprised whatsoever to see it go under. But it was close, and it just didn't quite make our cut. The other thing is, what people need to realize is the second half bet is a completely separate wager. It's a brand new wager. It's like a brand new game, right? So this line of Indiana -3.5 and 75. That's a brand new ball game, right? It has nothing to do with this score as far as what you're watching in the second half, right? So it's just a brand new game. And I think there's some confusion out there. Like people don't understand, is this part of the full game line? Is it incorporated into the score now? It's like a whole new game. And that's why there's such an edge, for what we do.
Yeah.
And now you're at, so that's our NBA results, current. You can see we're trending. We're almost 60% over 100 plays. I think was at 113 plays. So you can see the edge is significant.
Yeah, and you can say it's all fully documented. I mean, you want to talk about transparency, and we talk about transparency all the time on the show. Well, it doesn't get any more transparent than this here, guys. I mean, live from one of the locations of halftimemagic.com, he is Scott. He is the CEO. They are on a 13-4 run here over the last 2 days. But I mean, when you look at now, what are we, 11-2 in the last 13, I believe, in the NBA, and all all the results are documented. If you go to halftimemagic.com, you'll see the NBA results up here. You'll see the college hoops results, the NFL, all college football, all of them, all the results are there. And as you can see, trending at 59%. I mean, it's 59% over 100 plays. That's pretty damn good, man. I don't know how else to put that. That's pretty damn good.
Right. I mean, that's 21 games over 500. I mean, that is. I dare anybody to show me a service that produces that kind of winning percentage with that many, with a good volume of plays. Granted, anybody can go 75% over 4 plays or 10 plays. We're talking 100 plus plays that we are almost 60%. We're 21 games over 500. So, and that's what we will trend. We'll trend to that. We'll trend to that by college basketball as we go along. I think we're a little over 53% right now, which is subpar for us. But we know the more we do it, we're starting to heat up there too. That will trend towards 58%. NFL, I think we're 57% for the year. So it all trends, and we know our numbers. We've been doing this for almost 6 years now. Almost 3,000 documented plays, and that's the other thing. We document all our plays real time on Twitter. We put them out to our customers as soon as the game tips. We put them on Twitter real time so people can follow us and see the transparency of what we're doing. And that that's how we track what we're doing.
And that's important, and being able to do something like this. I mean, Scott thought it was pretty important that you guys get a look, because there is a lot of confusion with second half lines and second half betting, and people don't quite understand that second halves are completely new games. It has no bearing whatsoever on the numbers, either pregame or what you witnessed in the first half. You're talking about a completely different game, a completely different opportunity, and what happens is. At halftimemagic.com, the reason that their algorithm and that what they do works so well over an extended period of time is because the market is soft in the second half. And for those of you that don't understand what that is, that means that it's not adjusting based upon the information or the data that was coming from the first half. It's not adjusting in real time. It's just going, it was the over was 221, and you only scored 97 points in the first half. So, by the way, the second half over under is 114. The fact that anybody watching the game, you could see in the first half that neither one of these two teams can score, but hey, the number is still 114, and that's what happens day in and day out, night after night, that there are these glaring opportunities, these edges that are always available for you to take advantage of in these second half lines, Scott. And that's really, I don't know how else to put it, that we're always looking for an edge in sports betting, right? So what better edge than to have a soft market that doesn't adjust at halftime for the sports bettor? I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that.
Right. I mean, it's literally like taking candy from a baby. A lot of these plays, it's just these sports books do not have the time to analyze games, and even if they did, what would they analyze? I mean, this is a 6-year process that we've perfected this. They can glance at certain statistics, but they're basing everything off of the full game line, right? Not how they're interacting, and that is where the edge is. So you not only do you have, again, you have the statistics in your favor, but then you have a line that is not corresponding with what's going on real time, and that is where the edge is. And if you want to win betting on sports, if you like watching sports, betting on it, if you want to win second half betting, there is not a stronger edge in sports betting.
Yep, as we look around at the college basketball landscape and NBA games, the 7:30 early games are just getting ready to tip off. But as you look around in the college hoops right now, you've got Monmouth and Siena getting ready, about 6 minutes to half there. Florida State and Pittsburgh, about 7 minutes to go there. And Syracuse and Duke are battling right now. That's a close game with about 8 minutes left to go. And then as we look, also Holy Cross Bucknell, you've got about 4 or 5 games coming up in that 7:30 to 8 o'clock, and then Maryland and Wisconsin. I know there's a lot of people waiting for that one, as well as Oklahoma State and Baylor coming a little bit later. Texas and Kansas tonight, 9 o'clock. So there is plenty enough action tonight coming across, but I think it's important for everyone to understand that Halftimemagic.com is not a service where they're just going to throw shit against the wall and see what sticks and, hey, get your bet on. They're only going to send you the plays, and they're only going to alert you to plays that they feel there is a significant edge on, Scott, not just to play a play to play it, much like this Nebraska-Indiana halftime game.
Right. You're exactly right. I mean, it was a close play, but it's just not an official play. I mean, we have a ton of leans, obviously, but it's just, if it's not there, it's not there. We move on to the next game. But even with us being very selective, there are plenty of plays on a nightly basis that, this is good for the guy that likes to bet a couple games a night. It's good for guys who likes action. You're going to be getting, I'd say on average, on an average night, you're going to get probably 4 or 5 plays. On a weekend, you're getting 10 to 15 plays, just because there's 140 line college basketball games, things like that. But, this is for people that like to be active in the sports betting world, like to win, right? And just like that. There's also, I think you were talking about, you got kind of a thrill on trying to, getting that play texted to you, and, the thrill of getting online, getting that play down right away. And that's also part of the fun, if you will, of, getting it in.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important. And you guys, if you haven't done so already, make sure you're tailing halftimemagic.com on Twitter at halftimemagic. The information is there on the screen. Make sure you're tailing them. Free plays are always popping up there. He gets the free member plays every day that he posts on his Twitter page, but also in real time. As soon as the plays are made and as soon as they are booked, you'll always be able, from a transparency standpoint, to be able to see what was played. He's not waiting till the outcome and then posting what the play was. The plays are always right at the start of the second half. The plays are posted so you guys can get a feel for exactly what they're doing. But make sure that you are tailing them on Twitter at halftimemagic, and then do yourself a favor and go check out halftimemagic.com, and you can see here from the screen what's going on from all the plays, completely transparent. Over 100 of these plays here. You can see NBA 59%. I think you have the NFL results here too as well, that you can go around and take a look at. 57% in the NFL with the under in the second half in the Philly-New Orleans game. I mean that's pretty impressive here for the NFL season at 57%. So all of this is available to you guys at halftimemagic.com. We've also got, I think, what do we got? About 3 minutes left in this Monmouth Siena game, and you've got another round of these 7 o'clock games that are going to be coming up to halftime. So we'll see if we can get a play in real time and be able to deliver that to you guys. But otherwise, really, once you get signed up for the alerts, it's so important to be able to have that, have that book and the availability to be able to place the bets once the alert comes over. Because the last thing you want to do is look like Scott here and the other guys at the location who are analyzing data, and they're looking at screens all damn day, crunching numbers. Like, you don't want that. So you want to be able to have a life, and you still want to be able to enjoy being profitable, and you can do that by making sure text messages, definitely the way the alerts come in. Like, you don't want to be that guy. Like, it's bad enough he's that guy. Like, you don't want to be that guy.
Trust me.
Yeah, you don't want to be that guy. Yeah, and the guys he's got working with him, too, are just even worse. So you want to be able to utilize their information, utilize their knowledge, and you can do that by getting the alerts via text. And then, hopefully what you guys have ready to rock and roll is a sports book that you can trust and that you guys can utilize at your disposal. A book like uwager.eu, which is certainly one of our favorites because of not only the lines and pricing, but because of the ease of convenience from being able to deposit and withdraw money. And the customer service is fantastic. So if you guys are looking for for a book, and you should have multiple ones at your disposal. Make sure uwager.eu is one of them there. 1-800-UWAGER. Use the code JRS50. Get yourself a 50% sign-up bonus tonight, and this way you don't have to worry about it. It's so easy to use. Once you log in, the app is great. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer there. So 1-800-UWAGER. Use the code JRS50. They'll go ahead and give you a 50% sign-up bonus. And what do we got, Scott? T-minus 2 minutes here left in the Monmouth game before we can see if there's a live play here.
Yeah, we got about 2 minutes and a half in the Monmouth-Siena game, and then we got 7 minutes in the Duke-Syracuse and about 6.5 in Florida State-Pitt. So hopefully we'll pull something out of those. Obviously tonight during this live broadcast, the plays are free, complimentary. And what we'll also do, send an email to support@halftimemagic.com with Joe Raineri in the subject line, and we'll give you tomorrow Super Tuesdays plays as well for free. And there's a ton of games tomorrow, so plenty of action the next 2 days. Send us an email, and we'll get you going for tomorrow as well. Take
advantage of it, guys. Get those. Get the second half plays in. Take advantage of what they got going on at Halftime Magic. Friday between Saturday and Sunday over the weekend, and the amount of games was just absurd on Saturday between college hoops, the NBA, the NFL. But 13-4 over the last 48 hours there. 8-3 on Saturday, 5-1 yesterday on their alerts. 13-4, and we should mention also, it's very important to get this out, that when you are playing in situations like this, it is very, very, very important to make sure that you guys are not all over the map with your betting, right? So you don't want to pay $100. You don't want to play $100 in one bet, lose it, and then go, okay, I'm gonna, I'll double up. Let me go 200 on the next bet. That's not how you get ahead in the sports investing realm. What you want to do is remain steady and flat bet each and every one. Whatever the percentage of your bankroll is that you want to go ahead and play, stick with that percentage, and then go ahead and just keep it that way. If you're a $100 player, great. If you're a $500, a dime, but whatever it may be, but you don't want to be fluctuating, Scott, all over the map on your betting. That is an easy way to be able to lose your bankroll rather fast.
Trust me, bookies love fluctuating bettors, and that's the easiest way to blow out your account. Thinking that you're due, thinking, even if you're following us, hey, they've lost 3 in a row, they're due here. If they've won 3 in a row, I'm going to triple up. Whatever the case may be, you want to stay. We put this on our website as well. And trust me, we are seasoned gamblers. I'm talking, 30 plus years of playing sports betting, trading, everything else. So we know what we're talking about, and we know what it takes to win, right? So it's more than just, getting winning plays. If you don't manage your bankroll correctly and you're altering your wager size, you can have a weekend like we did, 13-4, and you can find a way to lose money, right?
Yes.
So, which is absurd. I mean, if that happens, you need to step away from the sports book. But you want to stay consistent. There's nothing wrong with upping your plays as your bankroll grows, right? But you want to set it as a percentage, 3 to 5%, depending on what you're comfortable with, and you stay with that, and then you set plateaus for yourself. So you say, okay, my bankroll's $5,000, and when I get up to 10, now I'm gonna double my size. Or that there's nothing wrong with that, but it's the fluctuation from day to day, thinking that somebody's hot or that they're doing this sport or that sport. That is going to surely blow out your account.
That is going to kill you before it is too long. So it's, again, flat bet it. Keep whatever you're doing, flat bet it, and get yourself ready. Because just this weekend alone, you flat bet it. If you were a $100 player, you went 13-4 over the last 48 hours. You can do some serious damage here when you go on these types of streaks. And again, if you're just joining us, he is Scott. He's the CEO, HalftimeMagic.com. You guys have heard me talk about him. You have heard him on the show before, but we invite you guys to head over to HalftimeMagic.com. I always say the proof is in the numbers, right? Well, there's the numbers. Halftimemagic.com. You can see exactly what they are doing over the last 100 plays or so, more than 100 plays. I mean, the NBA alone, guys, 113 plays. We're looking at 59%. So everything is fully documented. Transparency is what it's all about, and that's why Halftime Magic, they don't mess around with full game lines, and it's second half. It's all about taking the data from the first half, analyzing it, and figuring out if there is an edge in the second half, Scott. That's what you guys do, and that's what you guys do very, very well.
Right. Again, it's all about real-time matchup stats. That's what's happening. We're not playing paper stats at the halftime or before the game starts and hoping that these teams follow what they've done in the past. This team is they're the top scoring offense versus the worst scoring defense. So many things can happen during a game that stuff all goes out the window, right? And you want to know that you're on the side of what's happening real time statistically.
Yeah,
that's what we do.
And that's exactly what he does. So we certainly encourage you guys to tail Halftime Magic, at Halftime Magic on Twitter. Make sure you guys are tailing him. Make sure you head over to halftimemagic.com because all the information is right there. You can't go wrong with it as we get ready to, I think we're coming up here on another round of halftimes here. Monmouth and Siena looks to have, about a minute 40 left there. Florida State and Pittsburgh. That's a good one, too. And this will be interesting, too, Scott, because we got a couple of big programs here. Florida State, Pittsburgh, and also Syracuse Duke. Both of these matches, both of these games are tied right now in the last few minutes of the first half. So this will give us a pretty good idea as far as edging and edges in the second half, and if the line is adjusting to what we're seeing.
Exactly. This is a couple of these games that look like they may have plays, so it's going to be interesting, but it'll be a good example of how the stats are going to dictate what's going on. And again, the second half is a brand new bet. It has nothing to do as far as score wise the first half. So it's just a brand new bet. And again, what we've talked about before is it's a second half bet, so it's half the game. So it's not that you got a great play on. And I think we used yesterday Philadelphia as an example. They were up 14-0 right away. How many Philadelphia bettors and fans were like, God, I wish this game was over with. I wish this was in the fourth quarter. Second half, it's like you get the play, boom, and that game is being played and it's over pretty quickly. So you're on the right side. You're going to be cashing. You don't have to sit there and crap your pants for the second half.
No, you don't. I mean, that's the beauty of this is that it's like watching two separate games. I mean, and that's ultimately what you're doing is you're watching two separate games. Monmouth and Siena has now gone to halftime here as Florida State and Pittsburgh won't be that far behind. I don't know if was there a line on Holy Cross Bucknell? I don't know. Was there? I don't even know.
There was, but a lot of sports books don't put that up, so we don't even
go there. Okay, so we got Syracuse and Duke getting ready to come, Florida State and Pittsburgh also, but it looks like Monmouth and Siena has just gone to half. Monmouth 34-27 in that game. So while Scott crunches the numbers and tries to let you know whether or not there is an edge in this, we want to go ahead and remind you guys that probably a pretty good idea to utilize a quality sports book. That's why we tell you YAHOOSPORTS. Got to have it at your disposal. Call 1-800-UWager. Use the code JRS50. Get a 50% sign-up bonus tonight. Use it. Certainly in second half betting, one of the things that's so important is being able to have access to your book on the drop of a dime here. And that's why I love YAHOOSPORTS as well, is the ease of use to it. It's always up. It's always running. It's always available. It's easy to place the bets, and you don't have to worry about it. It's not as if, you got to fumble through 47 screens and hope that it comes through. It's not what happens. It's so simple. YAHOOSPORTS. Use the code JRS50 and get yourself signed up tonight. JRS 50, 1-800-UWager. Get yourself a 50% bonus as we take a look in now to Mission Control with Halftimemagic.com as they are getting ready to start crunching the numbers here on a few of these games. And Scott is speaking of UWager as I head over there right now. Let me see what we've got second half for the let me see what we've got here. Second half, Monmouth Siena. I'm getting Siena laying 4.5, and the over/under is 70 in this game.
Right. So this is a perfect example of a play. So again, there's two components, right? It's the statistics in our favor and the line in our favor, right? So it does us no good to pick a play statistically and have the line not, there's no edge in the line, right? So this is a perfect example. The stats say under second half, or it's going to be a low scoring second half, but 70 is too low. So we would not put this play out because 70 is not an edge. So if that line would have been 75, 77, absolutely. The underplay would have been official play. 70 points is too low for us to put an official play out.
Yep, and that is just as important as anything else, is to understand that you're not going to get alerts just to get alerts and hopefully get your action on here. You're only going to be getting alerts where it makes sense, where there is an edge, and in all likelihood, this is going to be a very low-scoring second half. But like Scott said, 70 is just it's not worth it. There's no edge in the line being 70 at this point, Scott. So this is one of those where they would pass, but you would expect there to be a low-scoring second half in this game.
Right, definitely. I mean, if it went under 70, I would not be surprised. But our experience, and this is what I harp on all the time. I mean, we've been doing this for 6 years, so we know the lines that are not worth playing. 70 is not worth playing in college basketball. There's too many goofy things that can happen, within fouling and overtime, stuff like that. That it's just not worth the gamble, right? So again, we need to see, if this was 74, 75, then yes, that extra 5 points makes a world of difference towards the end of the game. So yeah, and we're looking for, again, the statistical matchup and the line being softer in our favor.
Yep. And it should be noted too, we got Florida State and Pittsburgh. About 3 minutes left in that game there. Close one, 30-28, Florida State and Pittsburgh, and then Syracuse and Duke all knotted up at 42. So the over-under, what was the Duke-Syracuse line to start? Because what are you looking at here? 42 now. I mean, both of these teams could score 60 points in the first half, Scott. I mean, I'm interested to see what the second half over-under is going to be in this game.
Right. So again, another perfect example. So this line was Duke minus 17, 146. So the stats right now are, granted, there's still 3 minutes left in the half, but the stats are definitely for Duke. But this line is going to come out Duke minus 9 second half. I can almost guarantee it, right? Because it's tied. They're trying to get it closer to that minus 17. It might even be 10 or 11, but I'm going to guess 9. But that's the point. Like, it has nothing to do with the stats. So if this were Syracuse that had the stats in their favor, the line would still be minus Duke minus 9, minus 10, and then that's when we pounce, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, if the analytics if the analytics were in Syracuse's favor and the line was still where 10, 11, it still doesn't help anybody. That's the whole point. So it's also so important to understand when to just walk away from something, because Duke, Syracuse, you got two big named programs, right? And there are definitely going to be bettors right now that are going, oh man, it's Duke, Syracuse, it's on ESPN, it's Dickie V, it's the game of the night, I got to get a little action on this thing. And that is exactly what you don't want to do, is have to or place a bet on a game simply because that's what's on, or because it's your alma mater, or because it's, oh man, it's Duke, it's two great teams, and why I got to play it. No, you don't, because there is no edge. And if you are making making bets simply because you got nothing else to do, there's definitely a phone number we can provide for you guys. You guys got to seek help, because the other thing is then you're this guy. I mean, look at Scott, the CEO here of Halftimemagic.com. I mean, this man has got no luck. Look at this. Look at what he's got rolling here at Mission Control. So, yeah, he's waiting for those numbers to come in. This is what he does day in and day out, and he's got other guys that have this exact setup too across the country that are doing this. You know, when you get 140 games that you have to that you've got to handicap, it's kind of, you know, you can't do it all from one location. So he's got multiple locations that he utilizes on those big nights, the Tuesday nights, the Saturday nights, because there's no possible way that you can monitor every single game. But rest assured, that's what's great about halftimemagic.com, is that they are being monitored. Even when there is, Scott, 140 some odd games on the slate, they are all being monitored. So if there is an edge to be had, you guys would find it.
Exactly. I mean, every game is analyzed, every single one at half. So, you know, you've been part of the service for over a month now, maybe almost 2 months. So it's, you know, how many times have you been cozy in bed on the East Coast, and West Coast halftime goes at half, and you got your phone going off at 1 a.m. Eastern to get that playing.
Yep. And I answer every damn one of them too. So it's got its own ring, you know, and that's important too, to let you guys know that, you know, when you sign up, the alerts are coming in here on your phone. And then usually what I've done is I've gone ahead and fixed it to a ring that is probably the most annoying ring in the entire world. So I know what it is, and it'll make me stop in my tracks and go, what the hell is that? So I don't miss the alerts. And then from there, I flip over to the UWager page, and just like that, and from the time I get the alert to the time I place the bet, we're talking under 2 minutes, and you can guarantee yourself that you're not going to miss any of these kinds of plays. And like he said, the West Coast, East Coast thing, you got those late 10 o'clock, 10:30 starts out there where all of a sudden halftime's at like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. You don't want to miss those because they're usually pretty decent bets, and it would help if you had the right alert on the phone so you knew exactly what you were dealing with there.
Right, yeah. I mean, the alerts may be annoying, but winning is never annoying.
No. When you go 13-4 in 2 days, then you definitely, I mean, I think it was last weekend, too, he rattled off 9 in a row. It went 9-0 during the day, and when you have those kinds of streaks, it makes everything else go pretty easy there. So, Florida State, Pittsburgh getting ready to go to half, I think, at this point here, if I'm not mistaken, and Syracuse and Duke. They are almost at half. About a minute left of there, 49-44 in that matchup as we get ready. There it is. Florida State and Pittsburgh just about at half, and Syracuse and Duke. Now, are we seeing any, from a statistical standpoint here, Scott, Florida State and Pittsburgh, are we seeing anything that are we leaning one way or another depending on what the line is?
Yeah, we're leaning over right now. There's 30 seconds left. I want to see there's a couple more things I need to see to pull the trigger, especially the line. So that full game line was, let's see here, it was Florida State -4, 145.5. So they're currently at 70. Yeah, so we're looking at, this may be a play, right? If they score a couple more points, you may be seeing a low 70 total. Which would definitely be worth a play. But let's see what we're looking at halftime.
So we'll wait to see here what the play is going to be. And for those of you that might just be joining us, he is Scott. He is the CEO of Halftimemagic.com. He joins us from his mission control there as this is what he does, second half plays, and it's been extremely profitable for those that have joined on with Halftime Magic, and we encourage you guys to take a look at the website there, halftimemagic.com. You can check out everything is fully documented, which is, transparency. We talk about it all the time, how important it is, and it doesn't get any more transparent than what you got at halftimemagic.com. You list all the plays, well over 100 of the last plays, and as you can see there in the NBA, 59%. The NFL for the year, you can see every play documented in real time as well, 57%. So, everything you could possibly need information-wise to feel comfortable working with these guys is right here, halftimemagic.com. But getting into second-half betting and second-half lines, guys, I can tell you right now, it makes it very difficult to bet full game lines after you've had the opportunity and experienced what this is, because it doesn't having the opportunity to analyze the data from the first half into making a selection into the second half in a soft market, that smells like an edge to me, and that's exactly what they do at Halftime Magic, is look and find the edge. And we just went to halftime, it looks like, Scott, Florida State and Pittsburgh. 36-34 is what it looks like. 36-34. Syracuse and Duke just behind them. Duke 49-45 with about 30 seconds left to play in there. So as Scott crunches the numbers here, what are you looking at, Scott, in this Florida State-Pittsburgh game?
Yeah, so they had 70 in the first half. Again, the total was, I think, 145. So you're probably going to see, a second half line around 75, which is going to match. They try to get as close to the full game line as possible if things work out correctly. So, again, if it's 75 or lower, it's probably going to be. I got to look at a couple other things, but it's probably going to be an overplay for us.
Second half is over 77, Scott, is what I have at uwager.eu. The over/under is 77, -4 Florida State second half in this game. So crunch away and let us know here what it is that you're going to do. And I'll go ahead and show how the alert comes over if you're going to be sending one. But 77 right now is the over/under in that.
Yeah. So again, that's just a tad too high. I was hoping it'd be 75 or under. A couple of our metrics just aren't there for the overplay. Again, it's a slight lean. This is almost a total pass for us. I was hoping we'd get there, but it was close, but it just didn't get there. And again, we're trying to give our players, our customers, and ourselves the best chance at winning, and we're not going to force a play if it's not there. So this is close, but it's still not an over.
Now, you would have what would you have looked at? 75, 74, 75, if that would have come over. So if they would have scored maybe a few more points, we probably would have been in that area.
Yeah, it's not necessarily points, but we look at other metrics. If they would have hit our parameters for what we look for, then it would have been an overplay. But people are probably listening and saying, well, what 75 or 77? That's 2 points. Who cares? Trust me.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go back and look at our stats and how many games we have lost or even won by a point, half a point. I mean, you witness it yourself. These lines are crazy accurate sometimes, and 2 points is a big deal. So if it's not there, it's not there, and this game is not there.
Yep, absolutely.
We'll see here.
Yeah, well, Duke just went to half here. Duke, Syracuse, look at this. I mean, Duke 49, Syracuse 48. Duke was laying how many points here to begin in this? 16 or some obnoxious number?
Yes, 17. So
17.
You're probably be looking at, again, cookie cutter. You're going to be looking at -10, -11 probably. 9 to 11 second half, just because they're trying to get it closer to that -17 for the game, which has nothing to do with how they played stat-wise, matchup-wise in the first half.
Yep. But right now, that's 49-48 Duke. Florida State also at the half, 36-34. Number was just too high, so there wasn't a play there. Monmouth and Siena, there was no play on that one either. And I'm wondering, do we have an updated score here on Nebraska and Indiana? 19-16 there with about 11 minutes left to go in there. We had leaned under. It wasn't a play, but as you can see, they're not tearing up the scores. They're not tearing up the court here anytime soon in this game either, Scott.
Right. So the over-under was 70, I believe it was, for the second half. They're almost, they're halfway there. So, I mean, we got about a minute left, halfway mark. But, yeah, again, 70 is that's just not an edge. Whether it looks under or not for us, there's no edge playing under 70. We need 75 or more. Yes,
exactly. And as we wait for the second half line to post, uwager.eu, of course, is one of the books that we utilize, and we love those guys for the just how easy it is to be able to use and access. And it looks like it just came across here. What did you say that you thought the Duke line would be?
It's again, cookie cutter wise, exactly what they do, between 9 and 11 points.
Yeah, -9 Duke. Wow, look at that. -9 Duke. Over under 79.5 in this second half. Over under 79.5 there, Scott.
Right. Yeah, I got 80 on my end, so it could be adjusting. But yeah, I mean the over. Again, this is close to an overplay. Very close to an overplay. 80's pushing it. As much as I want to put a play out for the players, and my customers, it's done.
Well, that's the point. It's not, you don't chase it. It's either there or it's not there, and that's one of the beauties of it. But this is, I think, what you guys are, and what we had hoped with this was for you guys to be able to understand exactly the methodology here, what's going on behind the scenes. And how you can determine whether or not you're going to get one of these alerts and the process of going through it. So I think even more valuable sometimes, Scott, is not just the plays that you make, but sometimes understanding why you're not making the play that you're making. And that's also, to me, pretty damn important, because there's too many people. I've seen it too many times, guys, and we talk about it and preach about it all the time, that the last thing you want to do is chase plays just because you want something to be, I want something to do. I want some action in something, and you end up losing your ass rather quickly there. So that's the last thing we want to do. But I think it's also very valuable that you guys understand what's going on here with Scott and exactly why it is that the guys at Halftimemagic, if they're going to send out an alert, and this is probably a good thing to point out, Scott, that if you're going to get an alert, then you guys can rest assured it's alert because there is a very clear and visible edge to that play, which is why you're getting the alert.
Right. There's got to be a significant edge for us to send it out.
Right.
I mean, these games were close, but it's just, it's not. And that's how we go 58+%, because we pick the cream of the crop for these games. I mean, there's always games that are close. There's a ton of games that are close, but it's just doesn't fit our parameters. We don't put it out. No,
exactly it. There's no point in doing it. And you're right, Scott. It's adjusting. Our friends at uwager.eu, I'm now up to 80.5. So, and also right. Duke 9.5. So there's some money coming in there rather quickly, I guess. And this is Joe Public overreacting to the Syracuse 48 points in the first half. So they're coming in and dumping some money here right now. Listen, Duke could blow this game out in the second half. I could see them covering by 20, no problem. But, you throw up that kind of number in the front, knowing that the number was 16. Think about that. The number was 16 or 17 that Duke was laying, and Duke goes in only by a 1-point lead. Both of them almost score 50 points in the first half, which is crazy.
Right. So this is a perfect example of the stats. So stats say all Duke, right? I mean, if this was a lower line, we'd be all over it. But there's no edge in laying 9.5 points. Yeah, the stats say that they're gonna pummel Syracuse in the second half. But 9.5, that's what the line should be, right? So it's like there's no edge there, right?
No.
So it's not. We're not reinventing the wheel here. I mean, if it's not, there has to be the edge in the stats and in the line, or there's nothing there. So
no.
Again, Duke probably is going to win. They might cover the 16, 17 points, but laying 9.5, 10 is just not. There's no edge there for us to put it out.
There's none. Yeah. So, and again, that's it's pretty good that we're having an opportunity to be able to see a behind-the-scenes look as to what is considered a play and what is not. And I think if you guys are just joining us, what you can take away from this is that they're not sending plays just to send plays. There is a formula. There are analytics. There are algorithms that go into this, and the only way a play is coming over is because there is a significant edge to do it. And for those of you just joining us, Scott, he's the CEO, halftimemagic.com. You guys have heard me talk about them on the show. Scott has been there a whole bunch of times. And do yourself a favor. Make sure that you're tailing him on Twitter. Tail Halftime Magic. It's at Halftime Magic on Twitter. Make sure you guys are tailing him. Also, make sure you get to the website, halftimemagic.com, where everything is fully documented and fully transparent with these guys. Everything that they have done right there, halftimemagic.com. Your NBA results, college basketball, NFL, college football, the packages, everything right there. Real easy opportunity for you guys to feel very comfortable and understand that when you're working with halftimemagic.com, you're working with one of the best, and you're working with guys that are proven winners over an extended period of time. And, we'll go back to that NBA statistic here as we show you. Anybody in, over a 2-week span, and like we've all seen this too on Twitter and such, that, I'm 85% over, like 6 games. It's, congratulations. You're hitting 80% winners over 12 games. But it's a whole nother thing to go over, and as you can see the list here, it's a whole nother thing to have over 100 plays. And that's where you begin to have a pretty good understanding of what kind of capper you're dealing with here, is that when you get over that 100 play mark and consistently year after year, that's when you start to know of who you're dealing with and what you're dealing with, Scott.
Right. Yeah. I mean, to be 21 games over 500 is, that's pretty substantial. Again, especially newbies, when they hear 50, they hear anything in the 50%. So they're like, well, that's just, they win half, lose half, and that's far from the truth. I mean, you can see that we're 59%, almost 60%. We're 21 games over 500. So, you take $100 player, there'd be up 2,100 minus the juice. So they'd still be up, 16, 15, 50, right? So it's playing $100 a game. That's substantial, right?
Yes.
You spread it across all sports. That, again, I challenge anyone to come to these kind of numbers with the volume of plays we put out. There's very few people out there that can do it.
Next round, it looks like, too, as well. The next round of games is, I think they are starting to get underway here in college hoops. There was a handful of games, I think, starting right around that 8 o'clock. But if we actually head over, and let's do that right now because we haven't checked in on the NBA. Let's check in on the NBA scores. We had one game, the Nets and Celtics. End of the first in that, we got 27-25. Don't forget about the NBA. A couple of games getting ready to tip off, including the Grizzlies and the Rockets, as well as the Hornets and the Spurs. These games will also be monitored by halftimemagic.com tonight. And, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 6 or 7 games here in the NBA in addition to the college hoops, and we got a whole bunch of games getting ready to start here at about 8:30, 9 o'clock, Scott.
So what we're going to do, actually, we just found another metric that I didn't see because I was, obviously
bullshit with me. Yeah. So, all right. So what do you got?
Right. My associate pointed something else out that I did not see, and actually, this Duke Syracuse over 80.5 is a play. That's literally our max. I mean, we rarely go over 80.
Okay.
This game is going to be fireworks second half. So I'm going to put this out, and you're going to see it come over your phone, obviously, because you're one of our members.
Yes.
So let's see how quick this comes to you.
And you're going over, correct, in that?
Over 80.5.
Okay.
Again, this was right on the cusp of 80s usually our cutoff, but this game looks like there's enough in his favor that
there it is. It just came across here on my phone. I could sit here and let me see here, as you guys can see. I think I can do that as you. Let me see if I can get this on a thing. It came over. Here's a list of Halftime Magic plays that have come over. The alert comes in, and I've got college basketball second half, Duke Syracuse over 80.5. I've got that play. So now what I do is I head over to our friends at uwager.eu. I got my account. I look at the line. It is 80.5. I go ahead, place the bet, and I'm in, and that's it. Then I can go back to doing whatever the hell it was that I was doing prior to getting this alert, and the entire process took me about 2 minutes to be able to get done. So as you can see what Scott just did here, from the time he recognized the metrics, by the time they analyzed it, it took him 2 minutes to be able to get the play out. It hits your cell phone. It hits. And you're playing. So the whole thing from beginning to the end, you're looking at maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Plenty of time still to be able to get the play in. And over 80.5 right now. If you're just joining us, Duke, Syracuse. That's the other thing about second half betting, guys. You got to be able to react and get it done. But there is no easier than getting the text, getting the alert, and then going, okay, just open up a browser and head to your book and make the play. And it's that simple. And now you just kind of sit back and watch the money come in.
Right. So that line actually upticked to 81. It would still be a play. We probably played up to 82, just because it does look pretty juicy now that we had that other statistic stuff pointed out. So, we're fully transparent there. And our members will let us know, too. We'll put out a line, and that line will move a little bit, and they'll say, hey, I got it at, 81.5. And that's the line we'll put on Twitter as our official line. So,
okay.
We're not. It's not like we're taking I think this line opened up at 79.5, right? So it's not like we're taking the best line and putting it out. We take the worst line and accept that as our official line.
Yep. So there it is. If you're just getting hop on at Duke and Q's here, over 80, 80.5, 81, even up to 82. They do think fireworks are going to be going off. I mean, they scored nearly 100 points in the first half, and it doesn't look like defense is going to be anywhere time soon. But the numbers came across, Scott, and once they had it analyzed, they sent the play out. By the time I got it, made the bet. 2 minutes, guys, but you got to be able to react, and you got to know that the plays are coming. So when you sign up with halftimemagic.com, that's what it's all about. You sign up, the alerts come in on your cell phone, and you get them. You can have a life and do whatever the hell it is that you are doing all night, except, you don't want to be like Scott there with 900 screens or his other guys, by the way, that are even worse. It looks like NASA over there. It looks like they're flying space shuttles. Both of the control rooms that they have it's crazy. But you got to have that when you're analyzing 140 games on any given night during the heart of college basketball in the NBA. But that's why you love these guys, because there isn't anything that's falling through the crack. If there is an edge to be had in the second half in the NBA, in college football, the NFL, or in college basketball, these guys are going to find it, and they're going to help you utilize it. But that's the whole point. Get a text, have a book ready to go, and make the damn play, and then and that's it. And this is going to happen now for the rest of the night as these games go to halftime. You can see what Scott's doing. He'll analyze them. If it's a play, he puts it in, sends it out to the members. The members get it. The members play it. And that's it. And you just start watching second. It's like watching a whole new game, too. Doesn't make a damn bit of difference if you didn't see the first half. The only thing that matters is what the numbers are in the second half, Scott. So it makes it that simple.
Right. And I also want to point out, too, is some people could be looking at this Duke Syracuse line and be like, wow, that's the real Einstein play. They scored almost 100 points in the first half. We do not take actual score into consideration with our stats. We're looking at other metrics. So, yeah, granted, they did score a lot, but there will be a lot of times the metrics could scream over, and the score could be 32-28 at halftime. So we're not looking at the actual score with our statistical read. So, again, most people are looking, well, of course it's going to be over in the second half, but that's not what we look at. So you can rest assured.
Yeah. And by the way, that doesn't mean squat, because both of these teams could go out and go 8 minutes without scoring. So, and if you've been doing this long enough, if anybody that's been playing long enough, then you have seen, you know exactly what we're talking about, where all you need is 4 points and they go 6 minutes, the final 6 minutes of the game without scoring a damn basket. So this is 18-year-olds we're talking about. Again, it's not the NBA. So anything is possible. Just because of what they did in the first half score-wise doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be duplicated. But you are going over in this game, 80 and a half for the Duke-Syracuse game, which is going to be fun to see how this plays out here, Scott.
Yeah, again, the stats say it's a shootout, but you're right. Anything can happen. I'm thinking back, and I don't like talking about bad plays. Obviously, we all know that, but I think it was about a month ago. I think we had the over in the Wichita State game, and you and I were going back and forth with it. Wichita State did not score 1 point for the first 9 minutes of the second half.
Yep.
How that's possible, I don't know. But that, again, anything can happen in the second half. But again, rest assured, statistically, you're on the right side. It should go over. Granted, if it doesn't, that's why nobody can go, 80%, because there's so many stupid, silly little things that can happen in a game that throws it off. And that's again why going 58, 59, 60% is phenomenal with how many things can go wrong in a game.
Yeah, and that's why it's important also to flat bet these games. Make sure that you're not doubling up if one game loses. Make sure that you are flat betting across the board with these games, so you understand exactly what is happening here. And Syracuse Duke just tipped off second half. The play is in. Over 80.5 is what we are looking for in order to be able to cash. But plenty of other games that just kicked off that are in the first. We got a whole bunch of games at 8:30, including Wisconsin, Maryland. I think 9 o'clock we got Texas and Kansas, and Oklahoma State and Baylor as well. So do yourself a favor right now, and why don't we do this, Scott, for the for those that are joining us here, go ahead and make sure you're tailing Scott on Twitter at Halftime Magic. And Scott, why don't we do this tonight for the rest of the night? The plays that you are going to go ahead and do, you can get for free simply by tailing them. You'll go ahead and post these plays instead of waiting till after the tip. You can go ahead and post them previous, and you'll be able to, if you're tailing him and you're doing your homework, you'll be able to get alerted to these games all night long and be able to take advantage of what Scott and HalftimeMagic.com are doing.
Right, and you can see even with the delay in this Duke game, me not catching that stat that it was texted over by my associate, you can see even with that delay, you had plenty of time to get that play down, right? That was 7 minutes delayed before I even put it out, and you still had a good 5 to 7 minutes to get it in. So, but yeah, I mean, as far as tonight, the plays will be posted real time on Twitter, on my feed at halftimemagic.com. Again, send an email to support@halftimemagic.com with at Joe Raineri in the subject line, and you get tomorrow's plays for free as well.
There you go. You're going to get 2 days for free simply by hanging out with us. Do yourself a favor, though. At Halftime Magic on Twitter. Tail them. The plays are going to come. So, and you can see, hopefully, by what you witnessed here tonight. And if you weren't joining us, or if you just stopped by and just came across us again, that is Scott, halftimemagic.com. He is the CEO. We're all talking about second half betting here. And there were a bunch of games that we had a chance to analyze here tonight. One of them is in play. That, of course, Duke and Syracuse over 80, 81, somewhere in there, depending on your book. But for the rest of the night, Scott is going to go ahead and post those second half plays for free at his Twitter page at Halftime Magic. Make sure you guys are tailing, get the plays all night, and they are free. And if you want to go ahead and email him, you can do so at halftimemagic.com. Just use the Joe Raineri Show in the comment section. He'll give you tomorrow for free as well, and you can start getting the alerts on your phone like I do, and you are in business. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that, Scott. Pretty simple, am I right?
Yeah, again, we do all the work. You sit back and wait for that alert. You got 5 to 10 minutes to get that play down.
Yep.
And fire it in and sit back and watch the second half. I mean, it doesn't get any easier. And I'm dead serious when I say you cannot be in better hands. I mean, we are proven, transparent. We've been doing this for 6 years, 3,000 live plays on Twitter. We have many happy customers. So very, very, a lot of unhappy bookies and sportsbooks. So,
yes.
Again, this is the ultimate edge. Say it's posted on our site, and that's what it is. It's the ultimate edge in sports betting.
Yep. Make sure you guys head over to halftimemagic.com. All the results, all the transparency is right there. But make sure that you are tailing him on Twitter as well, because the Twitter, that's where the plays are going to show up tonight, all for free, courtesy of Scott and the guys at halftimemagic.com. So, Scott, as we take a look at Mission Control here one more time, look at that craziness. You don't want to be you don't want to grow up to be this guy. I'm telling you right now, boys and girls. Look at what you got going on on here. He's got games, he's got guys all over the place monitoring what's happening tonight. NBA, college hoops tonight, free plays happening at Halftime Magic on Twitter. Make sure you guys check him out as well on at the website halftimemagic.com. So Scott, we appreciate your time as always, my friend. This has been a lot of fun. Hope you guys have a better handle on what happens in second half and how to go about second half betting here. Some great stuff, some real-time stuff, and you want to talk about transparency. It doesn't get any more transparent than what Scott just did here, showing you exactly what's going on. And this is what I love, is that so many of the services out there, they act, Scott, like they've got the cure to cancer somewhere. Like you can't know who they are. They're incognito. You know what I mean? They're underground somewhere, and yet here you are going, guys, it works. Here I am. This is the numbers. That, what else can I do? And that's what I love. That's what I love about what you're doing here, and that's what I love about this, is giving people an opportunity to see the transparency and meet Scott, the guy who created halftimemagic.com. So the proof is in the numbers, Scott. You just gotta know where to look.
Absolutely. And again, you gotta, just follow our few basic rules of, playing every play the same amount, and, just sticking with it. Everybody goes through bad streaks. Everyone goes through great streaks. So, I mean, our bad streaks are usually, if we're 1 or 2 games under 500 for a night, that's that's devastating. Like that's basically unheard of. Right? So, and again, we take the losses harder than anybody. I mean, you just saw the degenerate setup here. I mean, it is crunching numbers and then agonizing over these close games a lot of the times too. So it's we put a lot of heart into it, but rest assured you are in good hands, and really rest assured that this is the ultimate edge in sports betting.
That it is. He is Scott, halftimemagic.com. Free plays all night. Get to Twitter right now at halftimemagic, and make sure you get to halftimemagic.com. Hit the contact button on that page. Get in touch with him. Give him my name. Say Joe Raineri. He'll go ahead and give you tomorrow for free as well, and get you signed up with the alerts. So, Scott, good luck tonight. I'm looking forward to getting the alerts for the rest of the night, and you guys make sure you tail them on Twitter. And then, Scott, we'll talk again next week, brother. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. And keep an eye out, too. We got an NBA coming up, NBA game, 4 minutes to the second half in the Boston game. So, and obviously we're close to 60% in there. That's one of our best sports. So
there you go.
Keep an eye out. Thanks for having me, Joe. I appreciate it.
Get to halftime at Halftime Magic on Twitter. The NBA plays are coming your way. Scott, have a great night. Good luck, brother. We'll talk to you again.
Thanks, you too.
You got it.